fast and furious, in the right place at the right time.
Combination slam, 1, 2, 3. Bill Goldberg out of obscurity.
I just kind of appeared out of nowhere.
Give them a few victories and they were already starting to go, okay, who's this guy?
The greatest champion in WCW history.
And Bill Goldberg remains unbeaten.
You know, the walk and the guards coming, and then he comes out.
The first undefeated man in the history of this sport.
Goldberg on Raw. Goldberg has climbed to the top of the most elite.
Bill Goldberg didn't feel like a wrestler when he first hit WCW television. He felt like a disaster that learned how to walk. No flashy entrance pose, no cute one-liners, just that slow, angry march. The glare, the security escort, and the sense that somebody was about to get folded in half in front of your eyes. Wrestling has created monsters for decades, but Goldberg was different because the presentation wasn't movie monster. It was, this guy might actually do it. And in the late 1990s, when the Monday Night Wars were at full volume and WCW needed new stars yesterday, Goldberg became the simplest and most powerful idea the business could sell. Undefeated, unstoppable, inevitable. One spear, one jackhammer, one more number added to the streak. But what makes Goldberg's story so fascinating is that the same things that made him legendary also made him controversial. The hype grew faster than the structure around it, the streak became bigger than the company's ability to end it cleanly, and his entire legacy turned into a never-ending argument over what matters more in wrestling, work rate or impact. The truth is, Goldberg's career is a perfect case study in how wrestling manufactures a myth, and what happens when the myth starts pushing back. Before he was Goldberg, he was William Scott Goldberg, born December 27, 1966, and his first dream wasn't wrestling, it was football. He played defensive tackle at the University of Georgia and later spent time in professional football, including seasons with the Atlanta Falcons, plus stints with other teams and leagues along the way. That background mattered because it gave him something wrestling can't teach: the body language of a real collision athlete. When WCW signed him and trained him at the power plant, they didn't try to turn him into a technical artist. They built a weapon. They kept the matches short, protected the aura, and made every entrance feel like a cage door opening. On WCW Monday Nitro, Goldberg's televised in-ring debut came on September 22nd, 1997, against Hugh Morris, and the appeal was immediate.
I remember how nervous I was. I couldn't have done it without Hugh. It's like a dance. Hugh made me look great that night.
And when he was working, I said, oh my God, we found the diamond.
From the moment Bill walked out, the first time we were just doing a TV match in 2 minutes, and no one anticipated what Bill was going to become.
He didn't out-wrestle you, he overwhelmed you. That was the hook, not finesse. Force. Then WCW did the most important part. They stayed consistent. Week after week, Goldberg destroyed opponents and the company turned it into a scoreboard. The streak became a living storyline, and you could feel the crowd's relationship with it changing in real time. At first it was, who is this? Then it became, okay, this is fun. Then it turned into, wait, how far are they going to take this? And by the time WCW really leaned into it, the streak wasn't just a gimmick, it was a ritual. Fans came to count. They held up signs, they chanted the numbers, they treated squashes like main events because they weren't watching for a competitive match. They were watching the myth grow. Now, the famous number WCW promoted was 173-0, and that number is part of wrestling history because the company pushed it relentlessly on TV. Whether every single win was tracked perfectly is still debated, and that debate actually proves the point. The streak stopped being a sports stat and became a piece of storytelling that fans argued about like it was real. That's how strong the presentation was. The streak needed milestones, and WCW fed him exactly that. Most importantly, championships. Goldberg's rise wasn't just beating random names, it became a march through the company's hierarchy until there was nowhere left to go but the top. And that top came on July 6th, 1998, when WCW did something that felt like a thunderclap. Goldberg defeated Hollywood Hulk Hogan on Nitro at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. This wasn't a pay-per-view. This wasn't maybe next month. This was free TV, WCW's biggest star of the old guard, and the company's hottest new force colliding in front of a massive crowd. The moment worked because it felt like the streak wasn't a trick anymore. It was destiny. Goldberg wasn't just over, he was inevitable. And for a stretch, WCW had its franchise. The one guy who could walk out and make the building feel like it might explode. But here's the curse of an undefeated streak. Eventually, the story becomes less about winning and more about the ending. The longer it goes, the harder it is to stop it without damaging the thing you built. CW tried to protect Goldberg even in defeat, but the way they did it created one of the most argued booking decisions ever. On December 27, 1998 at Starrcade, Goldberg's streak ended when he lost the WCW World Heavyweight Championship to Kevin Nash, and the finish involved Scott Hall using a stun gun to set up Nash's jackknife powerbomb for the pin. On paper, it protected Goldberg because it wasn't a clean loss. In reality, it also left fans with a sour taste because the end of the biggest run in the company didn't feel legendary. It felt like a plot device. And then, to make it even more painful for a lot of people, WCW immediately followed that era with the infamous finger poke of doom on the January 4th, 1999 episode of Nitro, where Nash essentially gave the title to Hogan. For fans who believed Goldberg represented a new era, that sequence felt like WCW snapping back to old habits, like the company took the hottest new phenomenon in years and used him to circle back to the same power structure. Goldberg was still popular, still dangerous, still a star, but WCW's momentum around him never felt as pure as 1998 again, because the streak was the engine, and the engine had finally stalled. As WCW spiraled deeper into chaos, Goldberg's career became a mix of huge moments and frustrating turns. And then came the incident that changed his reputation with a certain part of the fan base forever: his rivalry with Bret Hart in late 1999. Their Starrcade 1999 match became infamous because Hart suffered a severe concussion during the bout after a kick from Goldberg, and Hart later connected that concussion to the downfall of his in-ring career.
He kicked me so hard, he would have knocked bricks out of a wall. Finally got home off the road, and my doctor checked me, and he goes, "You are really messed up. You are so concussed. You need to stop everything right now. You know, you can fix certain things, but you only got one brain."
Hey man, I'm 57 years old. I don't need to prove anything to Bret Hart or to any other human being. You know, the fact is it was a mistake. I was extremely green in the business, and anybody who knows me knows that if I didn't intend to hurt him, then it was an accident.
Whether you view it as an accident, carelessness, or a symptom of Goldberg's limited experience compared to top-tier technicians, it became part of Goldberg's legacy. One of the moments people bring up anytime they want to argue the downside of the spectacle over craft approach. Goldberg kept going, but WCW was collapsing, and by the time the company was sold in 2001, his WCW run ended without the kind of clean final act that his peak deserved. Goldberg's first WE chapter began in 2003, and the debut was positioned as a major deal. He first appeared on the March 31st, 2003 episode of Raw, immediately tied to The Rock, because if you want the audience to understand that a newcomer is a mega attraction, you put him with the biggest possible star and let the aura do the talking.
It was a lot of fun, and big kudos to him for having foresight that it would be something that would go over. At the end of the day, it's a dance, man. We all need everyone involved to be a part, because it's a well-oiled machine. I always tell people that I couldn't have had the streak if it wasn't for 176, 3, 2 guys to make me look good.
Goldberg's WWE run moved fast. Big matches, big feuds, huge reactions, and then the world title moment. In 2003, Goldberg won the World Heavyweight Championship in WE at Unforgiven. That's a massive accomplishment because regardless of the debates about style, WWE still put the biggest prize on him. But the run also highlighted the Goldberg truth. He was an attraction built for impact, and WWE's weekly storytelling machine doesn't always know how to sustain an attraction without overexposing it. Goldberg lost the title back to Triple H at Armageddon 2003, and the next chapter became one of the weirdest WrestleMania vibes ever. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 20 in 2004. A match remembered as much for the hostile crowd reaction as for the wrestling itself, because the audience knew both men were leaving and they reacted accordingly.
The unnecessary chance that could prove fatal. Who's the better mat wrestler?
Well, no question. I mean, but the reality is that things were a little difficult back then in a lot of ways. It was a compound, complex sentence of professional wrestling at that point. I mean, you had him leaving, you had me leaving, you know, the animosity that was publicly known that I had for the business, and it wasn't a good time, and the fans turned on us, and as well they should have, because why are they going to cheer for two guys who are out the door the next day?
Goldberg's initial WE run ended shortly after, and for years it felt like his wrestling story had closed with an awkward final note. Then Goldberg did the thing that made his career feel eternal. He came back when nobody expected it, and he came back in a way that reminded everyone why the myth worked in the first place. In 2016, Goldberg returned to WWE and faced Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series 2016, beating him in a shockingly quick match, officially timed at about a minute and a half. That moment flipped the entire narrative. Suddenly, Goldberg wasn't a guy from the past. He was a nuclear button WWE could press at any time to create instant disbelief.
How long was the match with Brock? Was it 86 seconds?
I think it was something like that. It wasn't my idea.
Whose idea was it?
Brock.
Wow.
Shows you how brilliant he is. You know, when you reach a certain part of your career, you have to reinvent yourself, and you have to pull things out that people never thought that you would do. That bun that he had was completely different.
The man bun?
Yeah, and the character it was different. More power to him. He had great psychology.
That run led to Goldberg winning the WWE Universal Championship from Kevin Owens at Fastlane 2017, and then dropping it to Lesnar at WrestleMania 33. It wasn't about Goldberg becoming a full-time centerpiece again. It was about Goldberg proving he could still be an event. WWE later honored him properly with a Hall of Fame induction in 2018, with Paul Heyman inducting him. An interesting and very WWE choice, because Heyman is so closely tied to Brock Lesnar, the man most associated with Goldberg's biggest modern moments.
Wanda, my wife, thank you for being my wife. You completely changed my life. Gage, I did this for you, dude. I hope you're happy. It wasn't painless. Believe me. You two are my world, man. I mean, there's no doubt. The whole world knows it.
Goldberg kept returning in the years after, and this is where the complicated legacy part gets louder. In 2020, Goldberg won the Universal Championship again, defeating the Fiend Bray Wyatt, one of the most polarizing decisions of the era, because fans were deeply invested in Wyatt's momentum and didn't want an unstoppable long-term act to lose to a part-time attraction. Goldberg later dropped the title to Braun Strowman at WrestleMania 36. He continued to appear in major spots, including a Universal Championship match against Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber 2022, where Reigns retained. And then, after years of "is this it" rumors, Goldberg finally had a definitive last match. On July 12, 2025, Goldberg wrestled his retirement match on Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, losing to World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. One last big stage entrance, one last collision, one last reminder that Goldberg, even at the end, was still presented as a force you had to survive.
I've never thought about this moment because I never thought it would come. I couldn't have done it without you. My friends, family, it's been one hell of a ride. And there ain't never gonna be another goddamn Goldberg.
So, how do you define Goldberg when the dust settles? If you judge him purely on technical range, he's never going to rank where the all-time ring craftsmen rank. That's not what he was built for. Goldberg is the living proof that, because they know, deep down, this could end at any second. He's also a warning label. When you build a myth that big, the booking has to be perfect, because the moment you end it wrong, people never forget. Goldberg's streak, his Georgia Dome title win, the Starrcade ending, the finger poke fallout, the Bret Hart controversy, the WWE World title moment, the WrestleMania 20 crowd, the Survivor Series 2016 shock, the Universal title runs, and the final match with Gunther. Together, they form a legacy that's not simple. It's explosive, it's polarizing, it's unforgettable, and maybe that's the real Goldberg truth. You don't have to be everyone's favorite to be one of wrestling's biggest icons. You just have to be the guy nobody can stop talking about.